My niece texted me her Christmas wish list, a $2,000 laptop, a drone, and $1,000 just for fun. I replied, "You'll get socks." Then my brother replied, "Then you're not welcome here." I smiled and without thinking twice replied, "Good, now you can pay your rent without me." 3 minutes later, 23 missed calls. I'm Stacy from Colorado Springs. I have a stupid brother named Brian, and unfortunately his daughter seems determined to follow in his footsteps. Brian hasn't had a serious job in over 5 years. He floats from one gig to the next, barely hanging on, always with some excuse about how the world's against him. And through all of it, I've been the one keeping his lights on. Rent short? He calls me. Groceries low? I Venmo him. Kayla needs shoes, school supplies, birthday gifts? That's me again. I kept doing it because his wife Elise works 2 jobs and never complains, and because I kept telling myself it was temporary. But temporary became permanent. And Kayla, who used to be this sweet, shy little girl, started becoming just like him. Ungrateful. Entitled. Passive-aggressive. No matter what I gave, it was never enough. No thank you, no appreciation, just bigger expectations every time. This year things were already tight for me. My rent went up, my car needed repairs, and work had been draining the life out of me. I pull 11-hour days at the hospital, come home sore and mentally fried, and the only peace I get is the quiet before bed. I hadn't even thought about Christmas yet. I was still trying to figure out how to stretch my paycheck until the 20th. Then out of nowhere I get a text from Kayla. Not even a greeting. Just my Christmas list, smiley face, and 3 links. A $2,000 MacBook Pro. A high-end drone from Best Buy, almost $1,000. And a note at the bottom that said, $1000 just for fun, lol. Just for fun. I stared at it for a long time. Not because I was shocked. At this point nothing surprises me when it comes to Kayla. But because I realized I wasn't even mad. I was done. I replied with 2 words, "You'll get socks." Not even 60 seconds later Brian jumped in. Same thread. "Then you're not welcome here." No hesitation. Just straight to disowning me over a laptop. I laughed. Not because it was funny but because it was so predictable. I texted back, "Good. Now you can pay your rent without me." I dropped my phone on the couch, went to pour a glass of wine, and when I came back I had 23 missed calls. Mostly from Brian. 2 from Kayla. 1 from Elise. I didn't answer a single one. Elise eventually texted me. She said she had no idea Kayla sent that list and she was sorry if it upset me. She asked if I was okay and told me not to take anything Brian said personally. He was just stressed. Which in Brian speak means he got another final notice for the rent. I didn't respond right away. I just sat with it. Let the silence be louder than words. That night I started thinking about every time I covered his rent, every time I pulled from my savings to fix his mistakes, and every time I was told I was family, but only when they needed something. This Christmas I was done being their backup plan. The next morning it was like nothing had happened, at least on the surface. No calls, no texts, just silence. For most people that might have felt like a relief. For me it was confirmation. They were waiting. Brian's game has always been the same. Stir up chaos, wait it out, then slip back in like nothing happened. Usually it works. Because I hate conflict. I like things calm. I work long hours at a hospital where calm is a luxury. But this time, oh. When I got home that night, still in my scrubs, I sat down with my laptop, opened my banking app, and pulled up every single transfer I'd made to Brian in the past year. I don't know what I was expecting, maybe a few hundred here and there. But it wasn't that. It was $7,386. $7,000. That could have paid off my car. That could have been half a year of rent. Instead it went to groceries he never bought himself, late fees he ignored, and bills for a house he refused to maintain. I'd even been paying their Wi-Fi, the cable, the trash bill. I was a one-woman support system for a fully grown man who never once tried to carry his own weight. That's when I logged into the utility accounts and started removing my name. One by one. I called the electric company and waited through 15 minutes of hold music. When someone finally answered, I said flatly, "I'm removing myself from this account." No explanation. No guilt. Then I did the same with their internet provider. Cancelled the auto payments. Removed my card. Cancelled the grocery delivery subscription that was tied to my credit card. I didn't even remember signing up for that one. Probably did it one night after Elise sent me a list of things they couldn't afford this month. I didn't announce anything. No warnings. No guilt trips. I just pulled the plug. 3 days went by. Then I got a message from Brian. "Hey, is the internet down?" I left it on read. The next morning. "Did you forget the utility bill?" Still nothing. Later that day, something longer. "Look, I know you were pissed about the Christmas list thing, but this is just stupid. It's Christmas. Come on. Can we not make this a whole thing? I replied with one line. It is a whole thing. Nothing after that. Not for hours. Until Elise texted me. Her message was the only one that made me pause. I understand if you're done, she wrote. Just please don't take it out on Qley. He's still a kid. She doesn't get it. That hit harder than I wanted it to. Because Elise had always been the one trying. She worked 2 jobs, kept that house running, and tried to raise Qley like a normal child while Brian did the bare minimum. But the truth was Qley did get it. He was 13. Old enough to know that asking for $4,000 worth of electronics and cash from your aunt, who pays your family's bills, isn't normal. She wasn't clueless. She was copying her dad. I didn't reply to Elise either. Not yet. I needed to sit with it. Process it. Make sure I wasn't doing all this out of spite but out of self-preservation. Saturday morning rolled around and I knew something had shifted when Brian sent a full paragraph. No punctuation. Barely any grammar. Just pure, unfiltered anger. I hope you're happy. You always act like you are better than us. You like having power over people. You like being in control. This is why no one wants to spend holidays with you. That wasn't even the part that got me. It was the last line. You're just bitter and lonely. That's when I knew he wasn't scared of losing my help. He was scared of losing control over me. But Elise? He texted me separately. He's losing it. Blaming everyone. Still hasn't applied anywhere. Just pacing. She didn't ask for money. She didn't ask me to change my mind. He just told the truth. And the truth was Brian had no backup plan. No savings. No side job. Just me. He had built his entire life around the assumption that I would never stop catching him. And now for the first time ever I wasn't going to. The unraveling hadn't even really begun. The first sign was the trash. Elise posted something to her Instagram story. A pile of garbage bags stacked next to their overflowing bin. The caption just said, "Missed pickup again." I knew it wasn't missed. The city doesn't miss if the bill is paid. But it wasn't. Because I'd been the one paying it. Till now. Then it was Qley complaining online about her school shoes. Wearing the same ones as last year. "This is abuse TBH, she wrote. That one made me pause. Abuse. Not inconvenience, not disappointment. Abuse. It was the kind of thing a spoiled kid says when they grow up in a house where no one tells them no. Where they're taught that consequences are someone else's job to deal with. Brian still hadn't reached out in any meaningful way. Just short, bitter messages every few days. "You really doing this? So you're not even gonna try? Qley's Christmas is ruined. You good with that?" Every time I read them and put my phone down. Every time I imagined him sitting on that stained old couch in their living room, phone in one hand, ego in the other, waiting for me to give in. He always counted on the guilt to kick in. It used to make me feel like I was being cruel, like I owed them something. But now I was just tired. Tired of explaining myself. Tired of funding someone else's laziness while I worked myself raw. Then Elise called. I almost didn't answer. But I did, and I could hear it in her voice right away. She wasn't calling to beg. She was worn down. She said, "I need to be honest with you. He's not doing anything." I already knew, but hearing her say it hit differently. She said he wakes up late, spends most of the day on his phone, and only pretends to look for jobs when she's watching. That when she brings it up he snaps. Accuses her of taking my side, like we're in some kind of custody battle over his pride. Then she said she picked up a 3rd job. A cleaning shift at the rec center on weekends. That broke something in me. Elise, who already worked 2 jobs, was now scrubbing floors on Saturday mornings while Brian sat on Reddit threads about how the economy is rigged. He told me Qley was getting meaner. More bitter. Mimicking Brian. Saying things like, "Aunt Stacy cut us off just to feel powerful, and she's punishing us for being poor." I didn't say anything. I just listened. Then Elise said something I didn't expect. "I'm thinking about leaving. Just for a while. Taking Qley and going to my parents. I can't keep this up. I don't want her growing up thinking this is normal." I told her I'd support her. I wouldn't fund her. But I'd help her move. Help her get back on her feet if she needed it. She thanked me and said, "I don't even want your money. I just needed to say it out loud to someone who'd get it." We made a plan. Quietly. He started packing the things that mattered. Kept it low-key so Brian wouldn't blow up before she was ready. And while that was happening, Brian was still sending me texts that sounded like he was stuck in a loop. "This is your fault. She's depressed. You're ruining our family." I never answered. Then one night Elise called again. It was late. She sounded breathless. "I'm at my parents'," she said. "We left tonight." She said Brian had finally snapped. Not violently, just loud, dramatic, throwing accusations, slamming cabinets. Said he blamed her for turning Qley against him, told her she chose me over her own husband. and called her selfish for walking away right before Christmas. She'd waited until he stormed out on another fake job search to leave. When I hung up, I sat in my dark kitchen and realized something: he'd finally pushed away the last person who was still trying. The next morning, Brian texted me again. A single sentence. "She left me. You win." I stared at it for a long time. It wasn't a question. It wasn't even an insult. It was defeat. But I didn't answer. Because what he didn't know yet was that this wasn't about winning. It was about finally stopping the slow bleed that had been draining me for years. After Elise left with Qley, it went dead quiet. No texts. No drama. Not even one of Brian's usual, "you ruined everything" rants. First I thought he was sulking. Maybe he finally got the hint. Or maybe he was just too embarrassed to speak. But then the real surprise came: our parents returned. 6 weeks early. They'd been off in Europe living their golden years. Retirement, wine tastings, cobblestone towns, boat tours. I followed their trip in little Instagram bursts like everyone else. They weren't supposed to come home until after New Year's, but they cut it short. Mom said the cold in Prague wasn't charming anymore, and Dad admitted he just missed his grill. But neither of those reasons were the truth. The truth was Brian. He'd shown up the moment they landed, suitcase still in the hallway, and threw himself right into their arms with a carefully curated breakdown. He told them I turned on the family, that Elise had brainwashed Qley, and that he was being punished for being broke. Not once did he mention that I had been paying his bills for over a year. Not once did he say Elise had begged him to get a job for months while working 3 of her own. And of course he left out the Christmas list. Convenient. So when Mom showed up at my door 2 days later with a bag of pastries and her "let's talk" expression, I knew what it was about. She started soft, said she wanted everyone together this Christmas, and asked if I could find it in my heart to forgive Brian. I didn't say anything for a while. Then I pulled out my laptop and opened my bank app. I showed her the history. Line after line after line of payments. Groceries. Utilities. Rent. Rent. Rent again. She didn't speak for a full minute. Then I opened the message from Qley. The one with the $2,000 laptop, $900 drone, and the casual ask for $1,000, just for fun. I watched my mom's face tighten as she read it. When I finished showing her everything, I said, "I didn't turn on anyone. I just stopped being used." And for once my mom didn't try to fix it. She sat back, exhaled, and said, "I think you should block him." I blinked. "You're serious?" She nodded. "He doesn't need another enabler. He needs a consequence." Even Dad, who normally stays out of these things, chimed in the next day. He called me and said, "Let him sweat. He'll either grow or sink. But either way, it's not your burden anymore." I didn't block Brian. Not because I was conflicted, but because I wanted to see how long it would take before he realized no one was coming to save him. Exactly 5 days later, I got a text from an unknown number. "Hey, it's Brian. I had to sell my phone." That actually caught me off guard. The message continued. He said he was sleeping on a friend's couch. That he hadn't eaten a real meal in 3 days. He didn't ask for money. Not this time. He just said, "I know I've been a screw-up. I'm not asking for anything except this. Can you help me find a job?" It was so short, so different from his usual rants, that I just sat there rereading it. He didn't even try to guilt me. Just that one request. So I called him. His voice cracked when he picked up. Not from tears. From embarrassment. He didn't apologize, not directly, but he said something better. "I get it now. You weren't trying to hurt me. You were trying to force me to grow up." He told me Elise wasn't answering his calls. That Qley blocked him on social media. That he missed them, but he knew he'd driven them away. And he admitted something I never thought I'd hear from him. "I thought you were lucky. I thought your life was easy. I never saw how hard you worked for it." Then he said, "I need someone to show me how to do better. Not give me things. Just show me." And I said, "Okay." I didn't give him cash. But I gave him a list of open positions. I pulled strings at the hospital to get him a cleaning job. Nights, low pay, hard work. He said yes without even asking the wage. That night I sent a message to Elise. Just a simple update. "He's starting at the hospital. Nights. No shortcuts." Her reply was just 2 words. "About time." Brian's first night on the hospital cleaning crew was a test. Not for him, for me. I didn't know if he'd actually show. I didn't know if he'd make it through the first shift. This was a man who once told me mopping was demeaning, and now here he was, signed up to scrub bodily fluids off emergency room floors at 2 a.m. I didn't make it easy for him either. I had the head of maintenance put him on the toughest rotation, deep clean nights. No shortcuts, no light work. Just raw, exhausting labor. They kept him away from me on purpose, no special treatment, no, "I'm Stacy's brother." He was just Brian. Another name on the clock. But he showed up. On time. Wore a uniform that didn't fit right and shoes that looked like they came from a thrift store. The crew said he barely spoke. Just worked. And then he showed up again. And again. Day after day. He didn't text me to brag. Didn't message to ask for praise. Nothing. Just worked. The first time I heard anything about him was from the supply manager. She didn't even know we were related. She just said, "That new guy? The skinny one? Quiet, but he's the only one who refilled the mop buckets without being asked." It threw me. I didn't know what to do with that. Part of me didn't want to believe it. Part of me was afraid to hope he was finally changing. But another part of me, the one that had been exhausted for years, started to feel a little lighter. 3 weeks and he finally texted. First full paycheck. $587. I know it's nothing, but it felt like something. I wrote back, "It is." 2 days later. Used it to get food. Real stuff. Eggs, rice, chicken. Haven't eaten this clean in years. Then something unexpected. Got a free haircut from a guy on shift. Looks way better. Elise's dad saw me when I stopped by to fix their dryer. He asked if I wanted to stay for dinner. He didn't say Elise had forgiven him. He didn't say Kayla spoke to him. But just being let into the house again, that was progress. A week before Christmas I got another message. Still no Elise. No Kayla. But I'm not asking. I'm just showing up. And he did. Every night. No complaints. No slip-ups. Then came Christmas Day. I didn't decorate. I didn't buy anyone gifts. Not out of spite, I just needed 1 year without stress, without debt, without pretending. I stayed in bed until noon, made coffee, watched snow fall outside my window. It was the most peaceful holiday I'd had in years. Around 4 p.m. someone knocked on the door. I wasn't expecting anyone. When I opened it, Brian was standing there, bundled up in a second-hand coat, holding a paper bag and a coffee from my favorite cafe. The kind I only buy when something really good happens. He didn't ask to come inside. Just handed me the bag. Inside was a candle. Small hand-poured. Vanilla cinnamon. With a tag tied around it that said, "Thank you for not giving up." He looked nervous but not broken. Tired but grounded. He said, "I haven't earned a second chance. But I'm showing up anyway." Then he hesitated, looked down and said something I didn't expect. Elise said if I make it to February without slipping, she'll let me start picking Kayla up after school once a week. Just for an hour. He looked up again. "I don't deserve it yet. But I'm going to. I just needed someone to show me how to start. And you did." He turned to leave. No invitation needed. No performance. Before he got to the steps I said, "Don't waste it." He looked back and nodded. "I won't." And for the first time in a decade I believed him. Because he wasn't asking me to fix anything. He was fixing it himself. By mid-January Brian was unrecognizable. Not in some dramatic movie makeover kind of way, but in the small details that mattered. He stopped calling me. Stopped asking for help. No, "Hey, can you spot me" texts. No updates trying to win points. He just disappeared into his routine. Night shifts at the hospital. Laundry at a friend's house who let him crash on the pullout. Lunches packed in Tupperware he borrowed from Elise's dad. Every now and then I'd hear from someone on staff, "Your brother's still showing up," or "He's quiet but he works hard." There were no miracles. He didn't suddenly become someone he wasn't. But there was no drama either. Just consistency. And for Brian that was new. I didn't reach out. I wanted to give him space to prove that this wasn't just a performance for me. Then one day Elise texted. The message was short. "I think I'm ready to talk to him." She didn't say forgive him. She didn't say take him back. Just talk. And in her world that was a big step. She told me he'd kept his distance like she'd asked. No guilt trips, no "I've changed" speeches. Just the occasional message saying he hoped she and Kayla were okay, and that he was still working, still sober, still keeping his head down. Then apparently he left a letter. Just a short one. He didn't drop it in the mailbox or hand it off dramatically. He left it in a brown paper bag with some groceries on her porch. Inside the bag was bread, eggs, and a short note addressed to Kayla. No begging. No blame. Just this. "I don't expect you to forgive me. I just want you to know I'm trying. And I'll keep trying even if you never say anything back." Elise said Kayla didn't say much about it. But the letter stayed on her desk. It didn't get crumpled or tossed. And when Elise asked her if she wanted to ride with Brian to school the next morning, just a ride, nothing more, she nodded once without looking up from her homework. That same morning Brian texted me for the first time in days. Drove her to school. She didn't talk. But she let me. Before she got out she said thanks. I read that one 3 times. The man who used to bark at me over text when I sent him $50 instead of $100 was now grateful for a silent 5-minute drive with his own daughter. He was changing. Then, a few nights later, I got another message. I got offered the permanent position. Nights full-time. Benefits. I took it. That was it. No celebration, no look at me. Just a quiet step forward. The next message, though, that one caught me off guard. I know I destroyed Christmas. I know I don't deserve another one. But I want to fix next year. I want to host. Cook. I want Qley to see that people can rebuild from the bottom. I don't want her to remember me as the guy who ruined everything. I stared at my phone for a long time. Not because I didn't believe him, but because I did. Brian had always been good at dramatic apologies when things fell apart. The crying, the promises, the fake starts. But this was different. This wasn't a performance. This was just a man standing in the mess he made, slowly picking up the pieces. I finally replied, "You don't need to earn next Christmas. Just earn tomorrow. And keep doing that." He didn't write back right away. But when he did, it was only 2 words. "I will." And for once, I didn't feel the need to say anything more. Because this time he wasn't asking me to lift him. He was standing up on his own. The final update. This morning, Brian sent me a photo out of nowhere. No text, just the image. It was his hospital ID badge, finally official. His name printed under facilities staff, clipped to a fresh lanyard, and a photo where he looked different. Same face, but something in the eyes had shifted. He looked tired, sure, but grounded. Like someone who finally understood the value of showing up. 10 minutes later, he followed up with a message. "Just signed the lease. Studio apartment. It's small and kind of ugly, but it's mine." I sat there rereading it, honestly kind of stunned. He'd done it. No loans, no favors, no begging. He saved up, filled out the paperwork himself, and got approved. He told me it was in a quiet part of town about 20 minutes from the hospital. A ground floor unit with a creaky front step and 1 working heater. He bought a mattress off Craigslist for $40 and found a table someone left out by the curb. Said he wiped it down and called it good. He's moving in next week. And get this, he asked if Qley could come see it. Not to impress her. Not to pretend it was something it wasn't. Just to show her. To prove that even after you burn it all down, you can still rebuild something from the ashes if you put in the work. He didn't ask for help. Didn't hint that he needed anything. But I offered anyway. Told him I'd help move boxes. No money, just muscle. He texted back. "That'd mean a lot. I want you to see it. I want someone too. So this weekend I'll go. I'll carry boxes into a tiny, dented apartment that he earned with sweat and hours most people wouldn't survive. And maybe, just maybe, this time he won't lose it. Because now, for the first time, it's not mine to take away. His."
Thanks for watching. If this story made you think, don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. See you in the next one.